Good afternoon, everybody. Thank you for joining us. I would like to begin our program today by thanking a number of people. Obviously, this project doesn't happen with one person. There were a lot of people involved. There was a tremendous amount of work that went into it. I would just like to start by thanking people who helped this set up for today. I would like to thank Judy, Michelle, Rabbi Golden, and Yochanan for all their help on today. Obviously, got to thank Murray and Harvey and John for the setup, for all the food and everything. It's wonderful as always. This project would not have happened without the approval and the encouragement of the board of directors of the shul, as well as the past presidents. This project has been ongoing for 5 years. There have been a number of presidents involved, a lot of different board members involved, and I don't remember exactly who was involved when we first got this passed, but thank you to everybody for your allowing us to build our beautiful movement. There's no way for any of this to happen without Rabbi Slatis's full backing, which he gave immediately once the project began. He jumped in and was able to help us get everything squared away, and everything is done to the halacha, everything is done exactly the way it should be, and of course, this is all under the auspices of the Rav. We are forever grateful for Rabbi Slatis, not only for the Mikvah, but everything else that goes on in this community. The Mishnah in Pirkei Avos says from Nabil Aimer, anyone who's involved in communal needs should do so for the sake of heaven. The reason things work when you're doing communal things is because of the merit of the ancestors of those who came before. So the Mishnah is telling us that even though we do things on behalf of others, it's not us. We're not the ones who accomplish. The ones who accomplish is really, it's Hashem's doing. And He's doing it in the merit of those who came before. And so I know in this community, the Garfunkel family has been taking care of the big needs for many years. And their commitment to it has been very, very unique, very special. And although none of them could be here with us today, I do have something to give to Shoshana and John, who are most recently running, as well as Jamie, who is still currently involved. And we have something for Alisa as well, who for many years took care of the really by herself. So we've dedicated, the women in the community have dedicated a leaf on the tree of life here on the shoulder. We dedicated in honor of Alisa Garfunkel for her many years of diligently and lovingly caring for our mikvah, love the women of our community. In addition, we have gifts for Shoshana, and the letter reads, Dear Shoshana, thank you so much for your years of dedication to the mikvah and the ladies of Savannah. You went above and beyond and will forever be indebted. We will forever be indebted to you. Your commitment to this precious mitzvah was always evident, and you did whatever was needed to make us feel comfortable. Hashem should bless you and your family with endless brachos, all the chesed you showered on all of us, love, and then been signed by the women of our community. And we have gifts that we will be giving to them. The Mishnah ends off and says that Hashem considers it as if you yourself did it, though you didn't. Meaning to say, even though our involvement in building the mikvah was physical, but the actual merits that made it happen were because of those who came before us. But I must take a moment to thank the people in our community who helped make this a reality and make it as beautiful as it is. And for that, I was asked if we wanted to bring in a designer from New York, if the USA had some people they could help us with. And I said no. So we don't want someone from New York coming to design our mikvah. I want the women of our community to design our mikvah, so it should be there. They did an absolutely beautiful job, and I would like to call upon Tavi Rabin and Julia Schachter, Joey Rosen, Russell Lark. don't break, it's good. But these people are the reason the mikvah looks like it does. All of the design. Additionally, I just have to mention that Ahuva Slatus could not be here today. She had a conflict, but she really led the group, going above and beyond, ordering everything to her house, scrolling through thousands of items, buying them, returning them, trying them, everything that's in the mikvah. We really owe a debt of gratitude to Ahuva for all the work that she did. The mikvah began when someone came down here, the Oberlander, and he noticed, he said, a beautiful community should have a beautiful mikvah. And he got us in touch with Mikvah USA. He gave us startup money and said, let's make this happen. And again, he could not be here with us today, but we appreciate very much his starting this entire process, helping us through all the way from beginning to end. You'll notice we have a gate outside the mikvah, and that gate is an electronic gate. Because of the situation of our community being so small and privacy being a key element of the way the mikvah needs to run, we had to come up with a way to allow women to drive up to the mikvah and park there without people noticing their cars. And this was a very expensive endeavor, and privacy, though, was key, and therefore I would not settle for anything less than absolute privacy. We have an electronic gate that closes behind the people as they drive in, and this way we can ensure the privacy. Rabbi Slatus and Charlie Garfunkel together donated money towards this gate in memory of Mr. J. Epstein, who valued privacy, did everything quietly, though he did so much, and this is a true tribute to his memory. Another element of privacy that we needed to make sure was taken care of was the appointment system. And the only way we could come up with to do that efficiently was to create an app. And so I called on my Sarusa, who I learn with every day, when he's not busy designing the app for me, to create an app. This app allows for appointments to be made, that the women can choose who they want to take them as dependent. Everything is completely private and anonymous until the appointment is confirmed. And the app has been very, very useful. Everybody, the feedback that they've given me has been very, very positive. And I would like to publicly thank Rabbi List for creating this community. We've even gotten some calls from some other communities that they would like to use the app as well for their communities. And we are very, very grateful. In addition, Rabbi List has another talent, and that is he is a master at working electronic robots, the mops and vacuum. He's got a few of them at home. He's got one here in the shul. He's got one in the mikvah. Rabbi List takes care of all that. So the mikvah is squeaky clean because we have it done automatically. It doesn't cost us anything. And again, I'd like to thank Rabbi List for his taking care of that. And Mrs. List was forced into taking over the position that she now holds as being the head attendant for the mikvah, making sure that everything goes smoothly. And she puts a lot of work into it, making sure everything is exactly the way it needs to be, doing things at crazy hours and at crazy times. And again, the women of the community would like to give a thank you to the List family. I'd like to present you here. Correct. Just like she was forced to taking the job, she's been forced to take the gift. So it's from the community. Thank you very much for all that you do. The only way we could have this project was with the funds that it took to build it. Those funds were very, very significant. More than double the projected price was what it ended up costing. Simply to prepare the ground to build was almost $100,000. That's because the water table is 2 feet underground and we had to dig 11 feet down. It was a very, very expensive, but everything we did it to specification. We did it to last, and it was built in the way that Mikvah USA would allow us to build it, which is as sturdy and solid as possible. So the only way this could have been a reality was with the help of some very significant donors, and I would like to call upon 2 donors who were Shutzim, they were partners in this, and both dedicated significant amounts of money to make this project a reality. I'd like to call upon Mr. Mendy Feigenbaum and I'd like to turn it forward. Gives small tokens of appreciation. They're both the same.
Picture. Rob.
All right, who wants to speak first?
Aleichem. Standing here today, I'm reminded of a popular feature on Sesame Street years ago called One of These Things Is Not Like the Other. A group of items appeared together, and you were meant to notice the one very obvious odd man out. So I'm sure many people here are wondering, what in the world is Mendy Feigenbaum from Brooklyn, New York, doing in Savannah, Georgia, dedicating a mikvah? How do I belong here? To answer, I'd like to share a story about Rabbi Yoel Teitelbaum, the Satmar Rebbe, Zecher Tzadik V'Kodesh. As a disclaimer, I am not in any way affiliated with Satmar, but I feel that the story holds a huge lesson. The Satmar Rebbe was passionate about preserving an insular community, separate and sheltered from any negative outside influences. And one year, probably in the early 1960s, Rob went to Chicago to raise funds for his schools in Brooklyn. Before he returned to New York, he visited the local Chicago mikvah. And when he saw the mikvah was so run down and neglected, he turned to his contact and said, "Take all the money that I raised in Chicago and use it to build a new mikvah." I think the story holds a tremendous lesson. Even though he worked so hard to raise the funds for his own institutions, even though he was a separatist, the Rav willingly gave the money to build a mikvah in an out-of-town community where none of his followers lived. He recognized the greater value of Klal Yisrael as a whole and felt the responsibility to ensure a kosher mikvah and kosher generations. And now you know why I'm here today. This idea of transcending barriers is a message that mikvah itself conveys. In Hebrew, there are two words used for gathering things together: osaf and kibbutz. However, there's a special word used exclusively to express the gathering of water. As the pasuk says in Bereshis, Yikavu hamayim, which is the same root as mikvah. Why is gathering water so different? It has its own word in Lashon HaKodesh. Another interesting point, the word mikvah is obviously related to the word tikvah, hope. What's the connection? The answer is, when someone gathers a pile of grain or nuts, he is simply bringing many separate items together in one place. However, when many drops of water come together, they actually join as one cohesive body of water. The individual drops are no longer distinguishable. This unique togetherness of seamless unity is called mikvah. It's qualitatively different than asaf, and I think it is obviously why it's related to hope. For hope is the possible only through complete unity of purpose and direction. I think it is especially befitting that a mikvah in Savannah, Georgia is being dedicated in memory of my grandmother, Mrs. Chaya Fagel Frankel, as I will explain. People tend to think of a mikvah in terms of tahara, spiritual purity. However, we know that when a non-Jew wants to convert, he must immerse in a mikvah, even though he is not tamei, impure. Similarly, when we purchase a utensil from a non-Jew, it needs to be immersed in a mikvah, even though the utensil was never tamei. Evidently, becoming pure or tahor is not the essence of a mikvah. So what is? The commentaries explain that water is in a constant state of flux. In contrast to solids, which have a stable and defined shape, water constantly changes. It has no shape or form. As such, the way to effect a profound transformation in status, whether from tamei to tahor, from Gentile to Jew, is to completely immerse in the ultimate medium of transformation, a mikvah. My grandmother came to the United States in 1910. Although America was not conducive to Torah observance, she remained steadfast and loyal. Ultimately, she witnessed the Torah community's eventual reestablishment. Because instead of allowing herself to be changed, she created change. In Savannah, Georgia, I see a searching and growing Torah community with a long and proud history and a promising future. It's a place that embodies the powerful message of the mikvah. Grow, change, and improve. I'll just end with a fascinating mikvah story. Rabbi Yaakov Galinsky once got a phone call from a noted Sephardic Rav, Rabbi Toledano. He said there was a kibbutz founded by Holocaust survivors that had recently absorbed many younger families. They would be glad to keep Paris and Mishpacha, but the only mikvah available was in faraway Beersheba. Rav Toledano arranged a public assembly to educate the community about the importance of mikvah and hopefully convince the town council to cover some of the costs of building a local mikvah. He said he would speak for the Sephardic kibbutz members, but perhaps Rav Galinsky can come along to address the Ashkenazim. Rav Galinsky agreed, and he made the long journey to the remote village. The two rabbis came and found a completely empty shul, except for one lone man. After waiting a while, they decided to address the one person in the audience. Before it would be too late, he would decide. Rav Galinsky stepped up to the podium and delivered a passionate speech, as if he was speaking to a crowd of hundreds of people. He conveyed a convincing and clear argument about the mitzvah mikvah and its reward. As they walked out of the shul, the rabbis realized there had been another listener. The man's wife had been in the woman's balcony. She approached her husband and said, "Zelig, you heard what a special mitzvah this is? Let's donate half of our reparations money towards it." The husband readily agreed. Turns out the couple's contribution covered 2/3 of the mikvah's cost. The town council gladly agreed to cover the balance. The moral of the story is, when it comes to funding a community mikvah, you never know where that unlikely crucial donation may come. And I would like to thank you for giving me the opportunity to be one of those unlikely sources. In closing, I would like to thank all those whose involvement and collaboration brought us to this moment. First and foremost, Rabbi Slatus, close friend of mine from our days in Mikvah. Rabbi Avi and Tuckman for reaching out and giving me the opportunity to partake in this great Mikvah. I'm Rabbi Moshe Peretz Schwartz, visionary Merid Asra of Polaria in Lakewood, New Jersey. Last but not least, the Mikvah story would be complete without the mentioning the involvement of Mikvah USA. They were the driving force behind the project. Long after the ceremony is forgotten, more and more families in the great Torah community of Savannah will continue to observe this mitzvah, perpetuating a tradition and a mission that is more than 3,300 years old. For me, the knowledge is the greatest satisfaction. Thank you.
Is a mic necessary? I'm good. Savannah, Georgia brings me tremendous a lot of memories. But how the Rebbeinu Shalom does his world is very interesting. How we ended up being together with Harav Mendel Feigenbaum, who about 26 years ago, when I needed to make parnasa and make a living, he was one of the cornerstones to help me start off make a living. His wonderful kids, his son-in-laws who all came, we are very, very close, have helped found the Besmedrish that we have in Lakewood called Besmedrish Galaria. It wasn't easy to come down here, to fly down, and for sure for Mr. Feigenbaum, it wasn't easy too. Mikvah USA, all of the people who came down. There was a Shabbos by Mr. Feigenbaum's son-in-law, Reb Zamalai Drew, when one of the leading Rabbanim, rabbis, Netzistul, Rav Hagur and Moshe Hillel Hesh, which Yeshiva Salabatka was there, Shabbos. And I came by to say Git Shabbos. And I asked the Rosh Yeshiva, how important is it to fly down to Savannah, Georgia? He says, Mr. Feigenbaum, you have to go down. Moshe Peretz, you go down. And not only you go down, you should bring down all of your kids as much as you can. I brought even my small kids over here down in order to keep to what he said, to show the importance of understanding how much chizik having such a wonderful community out here in Savannah, Georgia, and how the leading authorities in Klal Yisrael understood how important it is to come down. About, I would say 5 years ago, 2020, I was here for Shabbos. And that Shabbos was Shabbos Parshas Boy. My father, Zachat Tzadik Lebrucha, who came to Savannah, Georgia, almost over 50 years, who cherished the community, who loved everybody. He always used to say, does the community recognize what kind of rabbi they're lucky to have? Rabbi Slatus and his Rebbetzin could be the rabbis of one of the most biggest communities in Klal Yisrael. How much he cherished the community, following in the path of Rabbi Nidickman, who is totally giving away himself, everything for the community. I had the opportunity to come quite often. My father came over 50 years to Savannah, Georgia, and I came about 30 years to Savannah, Georgia. In 2020, it was Shabbos Pasha's Boy, Sunday was the Super Bowl. Now, I'm not too familiar with the Super Bowl. I didn't grow up with the Super Bowl. But I had a very interesting thing that I was able to be here Motzei Shabbos. And my kids were here. We were having Abba Sibanam together. The prizes were great. Everything was great. And they were discussing the prediction that Rabbi Slater says who is going to win the Super Bowl. And if he is going to be most of the time right, or if he'll not be right. Rabbi Slater was right. It was Aleph Pasha's B'Shalach, and he said, then the 49ers and the Chiefs were playing. Rabbi Slater says the Chiefs are going to win. Why? 49, Pashas B'Shalach, the Eden were stuck in 49, Tumah and Mitzrayim. They couldn't get out of it. They were in such a low madrega. Moshe Rabbeinu came and took him out. He was the chief, and it was Sunday Pashas B'Shalach against all the odds they won. It never left my memory. It never left my memory that Rabbi Slatus was able to put together the 49ers and 49 Toiches of Tumah. Chief of Moshe Rabbeinu, I could put together. I was thinking this year, I wasn't here. I wanted to come. What happened with the Super Bowl this year? I went back to look. I wasn't here. I don't hear the predictions. But this year, the Super Bowl was Aleph Pashas Yisroi. Aleph Pashas Yisroi, the Chiefs were playing against the Eagles. And I think the Eagles won. From now making a mistake. I was thinking, what would Rabbi Slater say? Rabbi Slater would say in Pashas Yisroi, the pasuk says, "V'avi eschem al kamfei neshorim, v'uvi eschem Eloi." HaKadosh Baruch Hu says, "I'm going to bring you on the eagle wings and bring you." I was thinking to myself, Moshe Rabbeinu only took us out of Mitzrayim. It wasn't eternity. But when Hashem will take us out, I'll come find the Shurim with the eagles. Then there will be a permanent. I think, Rabbi Say, we're living at a time where we're seeing what means how HaKadosh Baruch Hu is carrying us on Kanfai Neshura. We're living at the last 2 years, one miracle after another. It doesn't make sense. The love for the Yidden in the world is very big. And the success and the nisim and the miracles that we're seeing, it's only because we're already on the eagle's wing. So what we're davening, Rabbi Slatus, maybe you could help us daven that we should see Mashiach who will bring us on the Kamfei Neshorim, to bring us already, all of us, to the ultimate Geula. My father, Zachat Tzadik Lebrucha, was a huge person. Like Rabbi Slatus used to call him a Kaddish. A real heilige person. A real Kaddish. He was so loving of the community of Savannah that he used to prepare months before stuff that he should give out for the community when he comes to visit. He never cared what the bottom line will look like. Will the people be happy? Will they be able to spend time with them? Will he be able to give chizik? Very, very interesting, and it's not a coincidence. My father was one of, I wanted to tell the people that I have the schi over here. Both of my older brothers are here, who came down to fly. My older brother, Rabbi Yitzchak, used to come here Shabbosim with my father, and my other brother, Rabbi Yosef, who took care of my father in a lot of different ways. And they were a sample for us what means kibbud avuim. So one of my brothers mentioned, and he says, you know who was crucial in publishing all of the books of family purity? It was my father for 50 years. With the goodies that he used to give, he always pushed in a small book on the side. Always there was a book that he used to give in on this book. So by him having the opportunity to have his name in a mikveh in Savannah, that he can have his name over here, I'm sure he's looking down from the other world, the real world, and saying, thank you, Savannah, you gave me an opportunity, an eternity connection to Savannah. But I want to share one story, and with this I will finish. This story has changed my life, and this happened in Savannah, Georgia, and this is a true story. And you can understand what means a person from Savannah, Georgia, Jewish community. There was a great caterer here in town. His kids are still the greatest caterer, the Gottlieb family. I still remember very well Alan, Zachat Tzadik Lebrucha. His wife was Lucy, Alan and Lucy. Lucy, of blessed memory, passed away about a year and a half ago. Alan passed away in 2004, I think so. I don't know exactly when he passed away. In Nissan, I think of 2004 or 2003. Maybe it was 2003. 2003? We came February, the following February, with my father. Now, Alan used to cook for my father meal mart meat. He knew my father wants meal mart, so you used to order the refrigerator specially meat in order, the Gottliebs, they'll remember it, all the kids, that he used to put away specially months in advance, so when my father comes, he should be able to eat meal mart meat. That year, we come to the house. I think the house is somewhere on Barn over here at the corner somewhere. I knock at the door. It was in the morning. Mrs. Gottlieb opens the door. She says, "Come in." She was happy to take us in. We sat down. She asked my father, "Do you want a coffee? Do you want something?" "Yes, I'll take a coffee." After 5 minutes, my father turns around to me and he says, "Where is Alan? Is he cooking? Is he somewhere? Where is Alan?" He turns around to Lucy, and he asks her, "Where is Alan?" She says, "Rabbi Schwartz, I don't have good news. He passed away about 8 months ago." My father couldn't talk, and I couldn't talk. If anybody knew Alan Gottlieb, what a wonderful Balmidas, what a great person he was, what a special person, unbelievable. I had a chutzpah at that time. I turned around to Lucy and I asked her, "Can I ask you a question? Do you mind?" "No, I don't mind." She was put together, a happy spirit. She took us in so well. I turned around to him and I said to Lucy, "From what are you made of? What material?" I knew Alan. You were married for so many years. What a wonderful person. How do you have this koyach, this courage, this energy to keep yourself so happy and going forward? She turns around to me and she said, and it changed my life. She asked me, "Do you say Moida Ani in the morning?" I says, "Yes." "Do you thank Hashem every morning for giving you back your neshama?" I says, "Yes." I say, "You know how my Moida Ani looks like?" I will tell you. Every morning when I wake up and I want to give a thank you to Hashem that I have another day in this world, I have another day to thank Him, I make a balance sheet. I'm not an accountant, but I'll make a balance sheet. I think my pros and my cons in life. What is my pros and what is my cons? What am I happy about and what am I sad about? For over 50 years, my pros have always been more than my cons. Then I could say Moida Ani. I asked her, "And how do you feel right now?" "I have such she mentioned to me she has 4 sons, 4 kids. What does she have? What she have? 3? She says to me, "Hashem has given me such beautiful kids. It continues the legacy. How can I be sad in the morning? How can I not say Moida Ani? Did I have to come to Savannah, Georgia to meet someone who knows how to thank HaKadosh Baruch Hu, to understand what means making a balance sheet every morning, of understanding what means pros and cons?" Every time I came back to Savannah, Georgia, this is only one example, and I have a lot of stories. And this is only one example, very interesting. We once had a conference somewhere where I spoke for employees or what, and I said the story. And one of her grandchildren says, "And you know, I'm an anical." She's a therapist. I don't know who. One of her anical are a therapist. So for the people who are coming from New York right now, who don't have the opportunity to understand the quality of Savannah, Georgia, the quality of the love and the warmness and the ahava to each other, how they're looking out for everybody, how the warmness, what it has, you do not appreciate. We live in a lot of different areas where there's a lot of frum Yidden. There's a lot of frum Yidden. There's a lot of environment you could feel. But the essence, the toichen, the being that I grew from Savannah, Georgia, Rabbi say, was tremendous for me in my life. And I want to finish a bracha to all of you. We're going to read the Torah this week. Chazak, chazak, v'nis chazek. After you finish, you say everything after Pashas Kidai. Chazak, chazak means strengthen yourself, and it's chazak, and you'll be strengthened. So the Chernobyl Maggid said, chazak, chazak. A person has to try once to strengthen himself. It doesn't go. Try a second time. The third time, v'nis chazek, will be strengthened. How? HaKadosh Baruch Hu will help us to be strengthened. We just have to do what we have to do. Rabbi Nidikman, who Rabbi Slatus put him on the project in order to get this mikvah done, and Mikvah USA and Mr. Feinbaum, this whole situation, how we jumped in to get it done, it's not simple. People, when they ask them to give money, it's hard. It's this. People have a lot of answers. But I just want to tell everybody, chazak, chazak, strengthen v'nis chazek, and HaKadosh Baruch Hu will strengthen all of us. I have a lot to share and a lot to say about the Savannah community, but the time is short. The bracha is, may this community prosper and make sure Rabbi Slatus doesn't leave and the Rebbetzin stays here. I want to tell the Olam is my father, one of the things he was looking at over here when he came to Savannah is Rebbetzin Slatus used to make him breakfast in Buckingham. What is it called? Buckingham? The Buckingham, to make sure that he had something to eat for breakfast. This is what kind of community this is. And this is what he cherished, each and individual when he met. Obviously, yes, in quantity, it's another step. You want to grow in quantity. But appreciate the essence, appreciate the community, the love to each other, and HaKadosh Baruch Hu help. And Mikvah USA, who made one project over here, and they make all over projects to continue to produce more Kedusha, more Tahara, and may we all be Zoicha, B'nissen Nigali, B'nissen Asita Begol, to see us, B'shiach Tzidkenu, from Hera Yemeni, Amen.
We have two more speakers. I'm sure they're both be very short. But before we do, I just want to mention two more thank yous to two people who were involved in a lot of the frustrating aspects of building Mikvah. There were plenty of. First, I want to thank Mrs. Loeb for all her work in the office, and there was a lot of it. And secondly, I would like to thank my wife for putting up with 5 years of my being involved with Mikvah, which meant I was not involved in other things that I probably should have been. And for putting up with me and all of that, thank you very much. It's now our honor to call on Wyszynski of the USA, who's sheriff.
Hello, everybody. So, Rabbi Feigenbaum, Rabbi Schwartz, they were great, talking all about greatness of Savannah. Thank God this is the 138th mikveh that Mikvah USA helped to build. Those communities are great, and I'll tell you the truth, it's the first time I stepped into Savannah, but since I'm hearing such great things about it, I was thinking maybe we should make a Hasidic community here too. Well, no one. So first of all, let me acknowledge there's a man in the back, sticks to the back lines. His name is Rav Getzel Neishta, who helped coordinate much of the funds that we were able to donate. L'zchus Meir David and Malka Kreindl Bas Sheva Rochel, who's a couple that's waiting to the bracha of children. We have another two Nadvonim, 2 donors, Moshe Netzer and Rav Shmai Reich, who helped this. And Rabbi, I know they don't get angry at me, but Rabbi Baruch Rosenberger and Sacha Berger, these are people who are dedicated to promote Tahara and purity and peace in the whole USA. We'll just say it about Torah. Shmuel HaNavi, in the beginning of Shmuel, it says that Shmuel HaNavi, he was a nar. He was a young boy, and as we know, Hannah prayed for children, and she was helped with Shmuel HaNavi. And Shmuel HaNavi was brought to the Beis HaMikdash. Eli HaKohen was his Rebbe. He was the Kohen Gadol, the high priest. And Shmuel HaNavi slept together with the Leviim. He slept in the Beis HaMikdash. There was a room there that they were able to sleep, and that's where he was sleeping. In the middle, he hears his Rebbe calling him, Shmuel, Shmuel. He jumps up and runs into his Rebbe. Yeah, I'm here. Okay, I didn't call you, Bob. Oh, you didn't call me, Rabbi? Yeah, Shuv Shachab, go back to sleep. So he goes back to sleep and lies down. A couple minutes later, he hears again, Shmuel, Shmuel. Jumps up, he runs to his Rebbe. Rebbe, yeah, what do you want? Shmuel, I didn't call you. Shuv Shachab, go back to sleep. And then it happens a third time. And the third time, his Rebbe understood that he's having prophecy from Hashem, and it's Hashem that's calling him. So he says, okay, say Hineni, and he guided him how he should answer Hashem, how she answered God's call of prophecy. So the Baalei Musar say like this: each and every one of us has a call from God. God calls each and every one of us. And then there's another voice that says, Shuf Shachab, go back to sleep. I was in Israel now. We opened 6 Mikvahs in Israel, Baruch Hashem, since October 7th. Everything changed. The spirit of all people, I think all barriers between Jewish people fell down in the last year and a half that we're suffering. So the Mendel asked a question, why he comes to give a mikveh in Savannah, Georgia. The truth is that the question didn't arise. He just wanted to elaborate on it. But I think in the last year and a half, we all realized that we're on one side of the world and everyone else is on the other. I grew up in the west side of Manhattan. Today I live in Brooklyn. But I go to my mother many times, and I pass by Columbia, and I don't have to tell you what was going on there. I couldn't pass by. I had to go around the block at the time. So Rabbi Say, we all realize, Klal Yisrael, the only way we're going to stick to it is if we stick to our tradition, stick to our Messiah. And the Messiah of Klal Yisrael, a great part of it is Mikvah. And our call from Hashem is, don't be satisfied if you go to the mikvah. If you don't go to the mikvah, try it. Try the beauty of it. See the beauty of it. God's standing at the doors of our home, and he's knocking to get in. Let me in. It's not enough to just come to shul, to come to synagogue. Let me into your home, God's asking. But don't be satisfied if you keep the laws of the Torah in your home. Make sure there are so many people. There are 50, 60 people in this room. The community of Savannah, Georgia, are hundreds and hundreds of not yet observant Jews. Reach out to them. Each one of us knows such Jews. Each one of us has acquaintances. Each one of us has relatives, has neighbors that we could reach out to. Believe me, the biggest gift that you could give them, anyone that knows what's going on in the secular world today, the biggest gift for their harmony, for the blessing, and I'm not even talking about, yes, of course, it's a spiritual blessing, but it's not only the spiritual blessing. The biggest gift you can give a couple, a family, is the gift of mikvah. So many people have said, I heard from Rabbi Berkowitz, I don't know if you people know this yeshiva in Eretz Yisrael called Eish HaTorah. Eish HaTorah is one of the beacons of light of Klal Yisrael that help people who want to do tshuva. We all want to do tshuva. I got to tell you the story, I'm sorry. I got to interrupt this. I just reminded myself a story. There was the Gerer Rebbe. the Gerer Rebbe said that there was tzaddikim that say that in like 180 years ago, it says in Zohar, there's a certain wisdom that came down from heaven. So there were great Torah sages in that period of time, but there were also great inventions, like Benjamin Franklin was then, and he invented electricity, and then there was the telephone. There was great inventions done. So the tzaddikim said that, yeah, that there came down wisdom from heaven, and much of the wisdom were used for inventions instead of Torah. So the Beis Yisrael says about, the Ger Rebbe says about 50, 60 years ago, there was a big revolution of tshuva in Eretz Yisrael. But he says, you know who got that tshuva? The non-observant grabbed onto it. The observant forget that they have to do tshuva also. So we all have to become Balei Tshuva. So you have this Rabbi Berkowitz, and and I heard from him, he told me that many women became Balei Tshuva because of the laws of family purity. It brought them the respect that they were craving for. It brought them the real love that they were craving for, the harmony and the respect and the love and that the spouse should have for one another and respectfully have it. And because of the laws of family purity, they became Balei Tshuva. So don't hesitate. It's not always a comfortable situation. Reach out to your friend, give them the gift of Mikvah, and you'll feel fulfilled. And may Hashem bless you all. And maybe there will be a Chassidish community in Savannah. You never know.
Okay. Now, before we have our last speaker, Rabbi Status, I just wanted to mention a special thank you to Rabbi Rosenberger for Mikvah USA, being our project coordinator, and also Mr. Brewer, who is the contractor for Mikvah USA. He's on speed dial on my phone. I think I have more texts with him than I have with anybody in the community. He walked us through every single step. There were so many details that needed to be done, and our contractors who had no idea what they could do because they built it before. And he was with us every step. He slowed down when he needed to. And till today, we have a problem. First thing I do is I call Mr. Brewer. He always takes care of us, helps us. And I just wanted to express our appreciation to him as well. I just want to read a text that I have with Rabbi Rosenberger here. He texted me September 4th. He said, "When exactly was your mikvah open? One couple had a baby today after 8 years." It's a couple, that's one of the families of the donors. They had a baby for the first time after 8 years. And my response was, 9 months ago was right after we filled our mikvah for the first time. It's now our honor to call on Rabbi Status to share.
The hour is late. There are those who have to catch planes. I'm going to keep my remarks very short. Okay. All right. First of all, Moshe Peretz, for many times that you were here, many years, 20 years, 25 years, you heard different Torah, Shabbos, Goshes, between Mincha, and everything. And yet the one thing you remember is the Super Bowl prediction. I see what makes a Rosh. Parshat Vayakhel says that in the lave of the Chacham lave, Nasan Hashem Chach, Hashem gave wisdom into the hearts of those who were wise. The sages say that we see Yohev Chachmasal L'Chakim. God gives wisdom to those who are wise. They ask the question, those who are wise, they don't need wisdom. Those who are foolish need wisdom. They answer and they say, give wisdom to a fool who doesn't know what to do. A wise person, present him with the tools. He understands what is to be done. I just want to take another 2 minutes to express my gratitude to Rabbi Minikman, to Mikvah USA, everybody involved, all those who did major things and those who did minor things. But I especially want to just mention about not just Moshe Peres, but the Schwartz family. And what I want to say, not only thank you for what you helped us here, but Father Oliver Sholem Zecher Tzadik Bracha was truly a very, very special person. His concern was always for others, what he could do. But what impressed me most was when he came here, especially when he stayed for a Shabbos, the honor, the reverence that his children showed him, how they catered to his every need. This kibbud of the ain, this was something that was so beautiful and made such an impression on me. You want to know how special he was, Rabbi Schwartz? If you just observe and you see how his children and his grandchildren, how they revered him, put him on such a pedestal, catering to every detail. So thank you. I want to give you an ashakayach for this that you were able to show me. And especially ashakayach for Rabbi, Rabbi Mendy Fiber. As he said, we were in yeshiva together over 50 years ago. 60 years. 50's enough. I want to tell you just a little bit. I want to say a little bit about Mendy Fiber. We sat, I think, either the same row or maybe I was a row. When Seder, when we had to be started at 9 o'clock, he was at 5. If it was over at 12, he was there until 12:05 until he had to. Never closed his mouth. You want to know what a masmid is? A masmid means a person who's continuously devoted and immersed in Torah learning. He was always there. Davening, he was probably from the Asara Rishonim. I don't know because I was not. But he was probably there from the Asara Rishonim, first 10. Never missed davening, was there. And the way he conducted himself, the way he carried himself, you could see, even though I was a teenager, you could see that here is somebody who had in him godless greatness. And God has given the wisdom to the wise, giving you the opportunity that you should be able to honor, said the neshama of your grandmother. And I'm sure there are many mixes in which you've honored her memory, and yet you still get choked up, because here too we see this common thread of honoring and showing reverence and appreciation for those who touched our lives, parents and grandparents. I thank you for your efforts that you do on behalf of all of Klal Yisrael, and especially here in Savannah. This mikveh is breathtakingly beautiful. I hope the women can appreciate the incredible mitzvah that Hashem has given you, not to men, but to you, that the key of the family purity and building future generations that can have the proper understanding of what it means, purity and sanctity, is up to you. It's within your hands. I thank you. I thank each and every one of you. Mendel, I thank you so much. And it was just by chance we met. I think Rabbi Rosenberg said, you know who's involved in this? He took me in Lakewood, remember we met in your office. And your dedication and the sincerity that emanates from your heart and your soul, this is the foundation of these mikvahs, these mikvahs, and that's why they are so successful. So once again, thank you to everybody who has been involved, and may this be a source in which we can truly see Bias Mashiach.
Thank you everyone for coming.